warrior on helping people to have a more positive outlook on life. There's an important model that as you understand it, you take immediate control over the equipment. That's why you want to be here today. It is what it is. You've heard that before. It probably annoys you like it annoys me, depending on who's saying it and why. All it means is the way things are. It's the way your life is right now. It's who you are. It's what you have. It's who you're with. It's the way things are right now without changing anything. It is what it is. If we put this into a model, I'm putting what it is right here in the middle of this line. My job as a psychologist is to illuminate the obvious, which is really fun because I get paid to tell people things they already know. There's a lot of obvious things that are unnoticed, though. Obvious, but unnoticed. This is where most of the processes of our own mind exist. There are two of those processes that are really important to understand if you want to have a more positive outlook. And I'm not here to tell you just think positive. That sounds trite and fluffy and it's not very useful. I want you to know exactly how the equipment is processing your experience so that you can be in control over that. So let's take a look at two processes that are going on in your mind. What it is right on the middle of this continuum. And our mind is always judging what it is. I'm going to call that process evaluation, meaning judgment of what it is. And notice that you're always doing this. You can't turn it off. You're constantly judging yourself, aren't you? Your spouse, your family. You judge your boss, your coworkers. You judge the people in your community or environment. You're judging me. Fine, I'm judging you too. We all do it. Judgment is what I'm referring to as evaluation. The word evaluation itself implies comparison with some standard. So the only way we can judge something is have something to judge it against. That makes sense, right? When we take what it is and we judge it, we have to compare it to some standard in order to make the judgment. So think about what it is in your life right now. It might be your marriage, it might be your finances, it might be how things are going with your kids. Just call that to mind for a moment. Now, can you imagine, in that great imagination that you have going on in your mind, can you imagine anything better than what you've got? Why, yes, you can. Always. In fact, this is a true principle, and just stay with me, because my editor tells me to always avoid the word always and never use the word never. I just used it. You can always imagine something better than what you've got. True? Now, when we're judging what it is, and we compare it to something better, how do we feel about what we've got? It's terrible. This is the feeling. This is the direction of the judgment. If you compare what you've got to something better, you're going to feel worse about what you've got. Are we clear about that? And you're never wrong about how you feel. How you feel is 100% consistent with the way your own mind is doing this process. It's very consistent. You're probably getting ahead of me, aren't you? Can you imagine anything worse than what you've got? Of course you can. And if you're struggling with that, call and set up an appointment with me. I'll tell you some stories. You know what? I go home every day from my office feeling so grateful for what I have. Why? Because people share their stories with me. And I can see very quickly then it could be a whole lot worse. When we compare what we've got to something worse, how do we feel about what we've got? Woohoo! This is how we feel. This is the direction of the comparison. So notice, you're never wrong about how you feel. I already said that. You're never wrong about that. How you feel is 100% consistent with the way your own mind is doing this. What it is all you got. It's all you've got. And it's always between better and worse. You can always imagine something better. You can always imagine something worse. You've heard, right, that happiness is a choice. This is how and why. You don't always get to choose what happens to you. Sometimes that just happens. Have you been around long enough to know that? What do you get to choose? You get to choose which direction you look to make your evaluation of that situation. That's significant. Pay attention to that. Because we're not done yet. On the top part of this, I'll put the other process that is constantly going on, and you can't turn this one off either. I call it creation. You'll use that same powerful mind that you're using to judge yourself to move forward and create something. And you can always imagine something better. Well, this is good news in creation mode, because what do you want? Honestly, if I gave you a choice, would you like something better or something worse than what you've already got? What would you pick? Duh. Of course you're going to pick something better. How are you going to create that? Well, you have to first imagine it. Everything that's created had to be imagined first. Even this marker that I'm holding, it didn't just poof into existence. It was imagined by its creator first. That's a principle that we'll get into in some other videos. Notice that you're going to imagine what's coming. Now, when you imagine, because you don't know, when you imagine that what's coming is even worse than what you've already got, how do you feel? This, my friends, is anxiety. That's 25 years of clinical experience in a nutshell. It's when we imagine, because we don't know, that what's coming is worse. That's what gets us tied up in anxiety and fear. When we imagine, because we don't know, that what's coming is even better than what we've already got, how do we feel? Woohoo! Yeah, this is hope. What I've created for you here is called the positivity vector. It's called that because I decided that that's what it's called. It's the positivity space where no matter what is going on right now in our life, no matter what what it is, you can get in a positive place with that. And even better is possible for you. That's creation mode. When we get clear about how we can use these two processes in our own mind, it creates possibilities that were never there before. It makes it possible for us to always choose a positive outlook on life. That's how it's done. If that triggered some thoughts for you that are making sense, you might want to follow up by getting connected to Portable Positivity. There's a link down below. This is the little book where I go through every aspect of the model that I just shared with you. I think you're going to find that really valuable.